As developers, we have a strong desire to define the future of gaming, and one of the biggest aspects of this title is that we're trying to achieve this with Final Fantasy. Knowing we have the opportunity to fully take on challenges with this project gives us energy in pursuing what we consider cutting edge. I believe Square Enix, as a leading video game company, also felt the need to make its mark on that front. So the ambitions of the development team were probably aligned with that of the companies, enabling us to take on this endeavor.
The recent Final Fantasy games have been more of a linear experience, where we're constrained to a given area. But the RPGs I played back in the NES and Super NES days offered much more freedom to the player to go wherever they desired. If there's a dungeon, you can go into the dungeon. If there's a river, you can cross the river, or ride an airship. We were able to play freely in a world that felt like it came straight out of our own imagination. In regards to the point about expanding the world, since the game is designed around travel by car, we started by imagining how it would feel to drive. So initially, we thought of racing games. We began by constructing an expansive world as if we were creating something along the lines of an open-world racing game. And there was the issue of the world feeling sparse because it's so big, so we created parking areas here and there where people can actually park their car and get out. If you walk around the area, there might be dungeons filled with enemies, camping grounds, and other points of interest. We really considered the optimal balance between areas that are a bit more dense and areas that enable players to enjoy and take in the scenery. That's how we arrived at this world composition.
In this game's open world environment, you'll find a dynamic world in which time and weather changes, a world inhabited by monsters in which you'll also find people going about their daily lives. That's why the art team strove to create a world that feels natural and doesn't feel out of place. At the same time, we wanted to deliver a world that has never been seen before, a world that delivers the same sense of wonder to those experiencing it firsthand.
In terms of the main characters, the first thing we did after joining the 15 team was collect all the information we could retrieve in regards to how the characters were designed for Versus 13. We also reassessed all the characters that had already been made public to our fans during the Versus era. From there on, we focused on 3 aspects to finalize the character details. First, technology had improved. Given the level of detail that can be achieved, including textures and wrinkles, we needed to reevaluate how high we'd set our level of realism. Second, in repackaging the project in the form of Final Fantasy XV, we reevaluated the roles of the characters, which in some cases affected their appearance. Third, we took into account the fact that we wanted this game to be played across the globe, so we considered how the characters would appear in the eyes of our global audience. As a team, we raised the standards and reorganized some of the characters in addition to considering how best to present these characters to our fans.
Significant progress has been made, and one such example is that we were able to implement an open-world type gameplay. The team wanted to take on this challenge for quite some time, but were unable to achieve and overcome some of the obstacles until now. For example, in the real world, the mountains in the distance will gradually get closer as you move towards it, and you may even climb the mountain if you wanted to. This would be quite normal for us living in the real world, but it's extremely hard to replicate in-game due to limitations that prevent us from achieving those feats. Therefore, overcoming that obstacle was huge. It was also my dream to create a game like this, so it really feels like I was able to achieve my dreams. I feel as though I have nothing to regret.
With the Luminous Engine, we've adopted graphics that incorporate physics-based rendering, and in order to create the open world, it can calculate atmospheric simulation in clouds, allowing us to express various forms of lighting. By enabling physics-based rendering, the gap between the quality of pre-rendered graphics and graphics rendered in real time has narrowed significantly.
The biggest change came in the direction or approach taken to character design. Until now, character design was more story-based, in that the way we created characters was based on their role in the story and what kind of role they needed to fulfill. It was relatively simple back then, but with 15, it's an open-world setting in which players explore with their buddies. The scope is significantly more vast, so the design process gradually shifted towards depicting more realistic characters, taking into consideration their actions or thoughts, as well as what type of clothes they'd wear or what type of hairstyle they'd have. We needed to be much more granular with our thought process when exploring the design of these characters. Furthermore, it's no longer solely about expressing the character through the design. The character persona is created by the hands of many, including animation and voice, so that's been a significant change. In that sense, the role which design plays in the creation of a character has somewhat diminished, but what has changed greatly is that the character is now crafted together by a team of people.
There are still many locations and towns that have not yet been revealed. I believe the question is asking how we created the environments. In the past, we designed image boards or detailed concept art that the team would take and create in-game. With 15, the level of photorealism that can be achieved was far greater than our expectations. When we actually went in and created the environments in-game, it ended up feeling unnatural. So we would identify those areas and make the necessary adjustments and improve on it further. There was continuous back and forth between design and production in creating this world. Until now, it was pretty much a one-way conversation in which the person designing would hand something off to the person creating it in-game, but now it felt like we were engaged in a two-way conversation, and that was a huge change compared to past titles.
I believe many developers appeared in this documentary and talked about their focus and what they were conscious of in creating this game. And there are many others that haven't been able to directly communicate their message, but they all share the same sentiment as those of us who appeared on camera, and we are all developing the game with the same mind. We are all working together as one with the same desire to deliver the ultimate experience to our players when they pick up the game that's soon to be released. There's a little more time to go, but we hope you look forward to the game.